In the heart of the African continent, where the heat bends the earth and dust rises like a sigh from the distant past, stretches an immense dominion, one without kings or borders yet ruled by a single law: survival. This is the savannah. A yellow sea of grass that ripples with the wind, where the sun burns without mercy and shadows are not always a promise of refuge. Mercy does not live here. Life is not a right. It is a daily conquest. On these open plains, time is measured in steps, in glances, in heartbeats. Every dawn arrives carrying the promise of death, and every night falls upon bodies that no longer run, bodies once frantic, panting, fearful, all awaiting another day to trick death once again. The hunter stalks, the prey flees, and between the two the eternal cycle of hunger and fear is woven. Nothing is guaranteed. The strongest can fall to an infected wound. The fastest can misjudge a leap. The cleverest can be ambushed, and the weakest seldom greet the next night. Here every living being is both executioner and condemned. The savannah is no paradise. It is no hell either. It is simply what it is, the last vestige of a world governed by instinct, by flesh, by blood. Welcome to a place where only the fittest survive. Within that fragile balance, certain predators have learned to live by exploiting the mistakes of others. Hyenas, masters of the craft, patrol the open plains, searching for any sign of weakness. Ever watchful, they roam in packs, flank their target and wait for the slip, the stumble, the fracture. Their power resides in the jaw, a bite force able to split long bones and crush skulls with ease. They do not hunt on impulse, they hunt with deliberate calculation. Yet they carry a limitation: speed. They are not fast enough to seize the fleetest prey, so they depend on exhaustion, on entrapment, on the failings of others. Across the savannah, that limitation becomes the deciding factor in every pursuit. When antelopes sense danger, they do not hesitate. They run with precision sharpened by generations of escape. They are the most abundant beings on these open lands, each body engineered to flee. They sprint in long strides, execute unpredictable turns, move with a synchrony of sight, hearing, and muscle that defies the most meticulous stalk. Confronted by a family of hyenas, a herd of antelopes withdraws without chaos, without panic, only urgency, and most of them escape. The hyenas accept the failure, retreat, and wait for the next hunt to succeed. Today's attempt will become tomorrow's triumph. For the antelopes, success aligns with their one goal: surviving to perpetuate the species, to keep a calf safe. Barely hours old, the newborn already balances on thin, trembling legs. Every passing day is an investment in the biological machinery that will keep it alive. With each sunrise, its body gains subtle yet decisive improvements. In the hind limbs, new proportions favor thrust and stability during flight. It is a silent, uninterrupted process. Growth never pauses, for stopping would invite death. Every failed attempt by the predator fortifies the pursued. Each attack that ends without blood leaves behind a body better prepared for the next sunrise. The hyenas know this, though they cannot name it. Failure forces them to persist, to split, to refine technique. But it also forces antelopes to improve. Thus, both ends of the food chain sharpen one another. Yet even after they have survived one more day, the blistering heat of the savannah drops, and night paints the land black. Danger waits in every corner, even more so when hunters who command darkness begin their rounds. Lions, adapted to the nocturnal realm for millennia, adjust their behavior to the fall of the sun, for they do not slay only in daylight. In their eyes unfolds a vital advantage, a reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum that amplifies vision under scant light by sending back into the retina any glimmer that seeps through. With this structure, they detect movements in gloom invisible to others. Tawny pelts merge with dry soil. Footfalls grow silent, breath controlled. Energy hoarded through the day springs into motion at dusk. The savannah never sleeps, but its voice lowers. Within that murmur they advance. They move as a unit into the night, guided not by rigid rank but by shared intuition. Females lead. They chart the route, choose the weakest flank, separate without losing contact. There is no rush. Every motion is calculated. In the brush, a cluster of antelopes rests, nervous beasts well versed in loss. Each night at least one fails to wake, and the lions know it well. There is no room for error. The pride must approach unseen, await the signal, isolate a victim, then close the circle. Panic erupts, scattering the herd. That is the moment the hunters crave. Each lion fixes on a single quarry. The doomed creature runs for its life. When it believes it has slipped away, the reality is already too late, and the lion grants a swift death before beginning its feast. Others in the pride follow suit, felling prey one by one with the brutal efficiency survival demands. When stomachs bulge and dawn bleeds across the sky, the scene changes hands. Heat surges, yet feeding continues. Scavengers arrive to claim their share. The scent of death rides the wind, promising easy meat for miles. Hyenas and vultures converge upon the remains, hurling themselves at carrion with an urgency suggesting each morsel might be the last. No fewer than 20 vultures may wheel above, descending like a dark tide onto split bodies. Packs of 10 to 20 hyenas pounce as well, battling for scraps. Hierarchies among scavengers are clear and brutal. The strongest eat first. The weak, if they live, settle for leftovers. This is no mere opportunism. It is an evolutionary strategy honed by centuries of adaptation to a ruthless realm where fresh kills are hard won. Vultures, beings forged for centuries in conflict's shadows, possess stomach acids potent enough to dissolve lethal bacteria like anthrax and salmonella, enabling them to consume rot without succumbing. Thus, they earn an indispensable role, the savannah's undertakers. Yet over carrion nothing is fixed. What belonged to the skyborn scavengers can tempt the original killers anew. Lions occasionally cede a carcass, less out of weakness than calculation. But pride is stubborn. Sooner or later the lion returns, drawn by ancient instinct to reclaim dominion. When he does, neither vulture nor hyena stands long. That dominion, however, is never absolute. Lions must share these lands with hyenas, among the savannah's most dangerous inhabitants. A lone hyena is easily dispatched, but in numbers they challenge prides with fearless coordination. These clashes are routine in a contest for shared resources, each species tracking the other, pouncing upon lapses. The lion's brute force is often tested by hyenas' collective will. Hyenas are no small players. Their jaws pulverize bone. Their digestive tracts dissolve hide, hooves, and tendon. Acute smell, wideband hearing, and day-night vision sharpen their edge. Social structure led by dominant females, larger, more aggressive, with higher testosterone, organizes every hunt and raid. Their cooperative power sometimes overturns the jungle's king. Confrontations erupt when a pride tires, disperses, or leaves a kill poorly defended. Hyenas gather, whoop, encircle, dart in with slashing bites, then retreat. Relentless harassment that drains the lion's strength. If a claw lands true, they briefly withdraw, never scattering. Persistence is their shield. In favorable conditions, no rival lions nearby and a hungry clan, records show hyenas killing adult lions, most often females or young males. Such tension pushes lions to preventative extremes. It is not rare for lions to slaughter unattended hyena cubs, not for hunger, but strategy. Better to end a future threat in infancy than face a stronger clan tomorrow. It is a stark calculus of lineage against lineage. Violence between these beasts is ancestral, an unbroken contest for the same prey, the same ground. Though tactics shift, the motive stands. Neutralize the rival to secure one's own bloodline. Elsewhere along rivers, another tyrant reigns, the crocodile. Silent, lethal, it waits submerged to the eyes. Patience, camouflage, and explosive power replace long chases. When herds drink, the crocodile chooses not the strongest but the least alert. A single slip, A sudden distraction, and jaws snap with bone-splintering force, dragging prey into turbidity before silence seals the kill. Here dominion is measured in stillness. Every being, however mighty, must drink. During mass migrations, crocodiles form a living barricade beneath the surface. Veterans stake narrow crossings where thousands must pass, knowing each second decides a life. Water erupts, bodies vanish, and the river mud reddens. Yet another actor patrols these waters, the hippopotamus. Forced to remain submerged by sun-sensitive skin, hippos float beneath the surface, exposing only eyes, nostrils, and ears. Their colossal frames patrol territory with surprising agility, deterring intruders. When a bold crocodile drifts too near calves, hippos surge. A swift pivot, jaws gaping wide with bone-splitting power, and the reptile retreats. Hippos, forever respected here, fear neither depth nor hidden force. The crocodile knows some challenges are not worth facing. When dawn spills its pale gold over the river, a deceptive hush settles, but it is never real quiet. The air soon trembles with insect wings, distant bellows, and hooves scraping cracked mud. Every creature, antelope, vulture, crocodile, lion, recalibrates at first light, confronting anew the certainty of heat, thirst, hunger, and flight. Dust glitters in angled sunbeams, and the tall grass whispers like a restless ocean. Yet the savannah keeps no ledger of triumph or loss. Its only archive is bone bleaching under open sky and the fleeting tracks that wind and time erase. What looks like savage violence to distant eyes is, within the grand calculus, neither cruelty nor injustice. It is a negotiation of energy, an arithmetic where blood is the persistent currency. Those who endure do so by unbreakable will honed through cycles of pursuit and escape. Beneath the unforgiving dome of equatorial blue, life continues, furred, feathered, scaled, and horned, each participant bound to the choreography of kill and consumption, struggle and renewal. There is grandeur in the ferocity, and a stark beauty too, for out of fangs and hoofbeats rises the raw, undefeated pulse of existence. The savannah, vast and sun-seared, is both stage and scriptwriter, both executioner and midwife. It demands everything, yet in that demand, it sustains all. Whoever steps onto those golden plains departs with the echo of one truth. Survival is never gifted. It is earned with every breath beneath the merciless eye of the sun. Here, the story loops back, unbroken. Heat, dust, heartbeat, chase, silence, and once more, the rolling wind across an endless sea of grass. The balance of power upon the savannah does not end at riverbanks. Far from the tense hush that reigns over the waters, where crocodiles and hippopotamuses draw invisible borders, the open ground becomes a second battlefield, one where the struggle for existence unfolds with the same merciless cadence. Leave behind those liquid confines, and an equally hostile stage emerges. The vast, shimmering plains of Africa's sun-seared grasslands. Each dry season drags behind it a train of hardships. The soil cracks, every blade of grass shrivels to straw. The creatures that endure here must confront not only famine and thirst, but also the unbroken menace of predators, lions first among them, lying in wait for the weak, the weary, the lone straggler. Yet in this borderless immensity, nature obeys one immovable decree. Only the best adapted will cross the plains alive and reach the scattered waterholes that glitter beyond fractured horizons. It is upon that inhospitable grid that the great migrations begin. Hundreds of thousands of zebras bunch into tight formations, aware that only by moving, always moving, will they discover pasture enough and pools enough to outlast the parched months. During a single mass migration, more than 300,000 striped bodies may traverse East Africa, following an ancestral map as old as memory itself. Mile after dusty mile, they march in columns that, seen from a distant ridge, seem endless ribbons of black and white. Exhaustion, hunger, the vigilant eyes of hunters, the perpetual duty of keeping pace. Each day sets a fresh ordeal before them. Within that relentless motion, zebra foals undergo their first brutal schooling in survival. As soon as spindly legs hold firm, the young rehearse escape drills, brief darting away from mothers, dashing among siblings, practicing abrupt swerves, mock charges, sudden stalls. They kick at empty air, whirl in tight circles, trying to foresee everything the grass might conceal. What looks like play is instinctive training for the moment when predators explode out of nowhere. Failure there spells instant death. At a distance, grouped and patient carnivores watch. Stalking now would scatter the herd and win too little flesh for a hungry pride. Better to conserve strength and wait until the sun grows cruel, when dehydration and fatigue force prey to lower their guard. While migration paints the savannah with restless lines of tension, the great cats observe with almost imperturbable calm, a serenity that flips to incandescent power in the moment of strike. Through daylight, their schedule revolves around long siestas lasting 16 to 20 hours. Such long repose is essential. It restores muscle and nerve after furious hunts and border patrols that define a lion's dominion. Yet the lion is no creature of ceaseless slumber. When he rises with electrifying agility, instantly ready to resume his role as sovereign hunter. This smooth pivot from stillness to ferocity is as natural as breathing, underscoring the species' peerless capacity for switchblade adaptation. Though mighty, lion warfare demands enormous effort. After hours of languor comes the inevitable hour to abandon lethargy and plunge into the work that decides life itself, the hunt. He may spend hours tracking a single target, sliding through umbra under starlight or shimmering haze at midday, tailoring strategy to wind, terrain, and cover. Sometimes the stalk stretches to 4 back-breaking hours. The stealthy approach may exceed 10 kilometers. Such a campaign requires prodigious stamina, plus an edge of patience honed to surgical keenness. What astonishes most is the cat's unerring sense of direction. Many beasts would lose all bearings, yet lions carry an internal map that guides them unerringly home, as though every paw step were taken on memorized roads. But not every contest is settled with claws and silence. There are moments when the king rules by sound alone. With his roar, the lion announces proprietorship not just to ungulates, but to rival felines as well. Beneath the smeared glow of dawn, his voice breaks across brittle scrub, stretching over the savannah's sweeping flatness, drawing an unseen line few dare cross. It is not one roar, but a measured volley. A thundercrack opening blast, several shorter but equally iron-fisted booms, and finally a deep, gravelly aftershock that dwindles into the horizon. That roar can be heard more than 8 kilometers away, sliding over level grassland where trees are sparse and sound meets little resistance. Zebras, antelopes, jackals, though they cannot see him, know the sovereign is near. The blast subdues prey and reminds alien lions that this range is claimed. Nightly, the lion patrols his rim of power, accompanied by lionesses who both hunt and guard borderlines. The dominant male calls as he walks, reinforcing presence. If a foreign pride replies, the roaring dialogue may last minutes, an acoustic duel that rarely descends into blood, yet draws territorial frontiers with an authority akin to fire. The guttural language has practical merit. It locates scattered pride mates. In so hostile a domain, where clashes with other hunters are routine, communication is survival. The resonance of an adult lion's chest carries power, order, belonging, a warning to intruders, and a summons to kin. As lions vanish into post-hunt shadows, trailing silence and a thick scent of iron, the sky above the savannah reclaims its own drama. Not every killer belongs to Earth. Over the boundless plain, other silhouettes cross with practiced stealth, sharper, swifter, lethally precise. Eagles. They rule the vault of air with wings that may span 2.6 meters. From that altitude, their eyes dissect distance with impossible clarity. A quiver in grass, a glint of fur lying open to the sun. Nothing escapes. A young antelope, disoriented, lags behind its band. That margin of separation is already a verdict. High above, the eagle folds its pinions, letting gravity draw it earthward in a controlled plummet, a living shadow falling. No warning, no route of escape. Talons, long and crescent-curved, pierce hide and muscle with breathtaking torque. The prey struggles only a heartbeat before darkness claims it. Yet the raptor's work is unfinished. The juvenile antelope, too heavy to fly off whole, must be rationed. With scalpel precision, the eagle carves fresh meat, separating strips it can carry talon by talon. In the crown of a solitary tree, where wind barely stirs the highest leaves, a nest of dry limbs cradles a downy chick. The eagle lays the bloody harvest there, feeding its offspring first, itself second. The nestling receives no worms, no insects, only hot muscle rich with life fuel, ensuring that within months it too will command these skies. As raptors wheel away and a brief hush drops over the plain, ground life resumes. What counts as a fruitful day for a bird of prey registers to others merely as an interlude. Beneath the same skeletal branches and along the same dusty tracks glide shadows smaller yet cunning. Jackals. Consummate opportunists, they prowl the fringe of the aerial kill site. Every sense stays tuned to motion or scent, guiding them to edible chance. Be it a newly fallen beast or scraps left after a squabble among larger scavengers. Their role is modest, yet vital. They will never challenge a lion head-on. Success lies in calculus and patience. While satiated predators sleep or drift away, the jackals commence their shift. From first blush of dawn until dusk's last embers, they adapt activity to windows of lowest peril, trailing big hunters, reading blood smoke on the wind, reading prints that whisper of unfinished feasts. Their diet is catholic: rodents, birds, reptiles, vulnerable antelope calves. Yet true expertise blooms in the art of taking without exposure. When a hyena clan abandons a carcass stripped to sinew, jackals tiptoe in, ignoring great bones to focus on soft tissues, viscera fragments, cartilage, tendons spurned by others. Skirmishes flare among themselves for slivers any larger beast would overlook. Lacking the mass and muscle of apex carnivores, jackals perfect the craft of subsisting on the system's residue, playing an essential part in ecological sanitation. Where shards of meat and bone lie scattered, they consume what yet may nourish, shrinking disease foci, closing the loop of organic matter. Thus, balance persists, and jackals, almost invisible to the casual eye, continue their silent tenure beneath the same sky where eagles circle and vultures wheel. With ground action settling, a new hunter moves like whispered smoke across the savannah. Distant, a solitary shadow advances with the same measured precision as the jackals, but with a different objective. This is a predator who chooses, unlike other cats, to hunt alone. The leopard requires neither pride nor pack. Through endless practice and trial, he has become a perfectionist in the art of ambush. In a domain where lions dominate as collectives and hyenas swarm in voracious clans, solitude becomes advantage. He sidesteps confrontation, lessens competition, heightens survival odds in a brutal arena where the strong eat the weak and the careless are erased. Even among his own kind, leopards keep away. They form no clans, forge no alliances. These are private creatures, solitary by nature, defending tracts with ferocity, tolerating company only for mating or when a mother shields her cubs. Now, ravenous and ready, the leopard sets his gaze on a new victim, a baboon. Baboons are famed for aggression and armed with biting canines, yet none of that deters the leopard, who will risk anything for another day's sustenance. Slow, noiseless movements slip beneath notice of other beasts and of the target itself. His rosette-spotted coat blends perfectly with sun-bleached grass, allowing closer approach. Eyes wide-pupilled gather every twitch even in dim light, granting lethal advantage among stalks. When the baboon senses what approaches, it is already too late. The chase erupts, the leopard commits. The primate fights, but against a cat that can sprint 50 kilometers per hour in short bursts, resistance is futile. A crushing bite to the throat ends the struggle. Offspring of the baboon scream and scatter while the leopard, deaf to laments, hoists the prize, proud. He and his cubs will dine well. As the last glimmer of sun drops and temperature plunges, the savannah dons another mask. Shadows stretch, silence thickens, broken only by distant cries of animals that failed to outrun dusk. Burdened with kill, the leopard withdraws into denser scrub, climbing high branches to cache the carcass, safe from hyenas, roaming like pale spirits. In those elevated refuges his own cubs hide, small, vulnerable to a darkness governed by other hunters. The leopard's night becomes a vigilant half-sleep. Ears cocked, nostrils flaring, he remains ready. Hyenas can track the blood scent to the trunk and wait for hours below. Other leopards, younger, reckless, might attempt theft. Nocturnal security is an illusion. It is merely a fragile lull before the next pursuit, the next clash for life. And so, under pale lunar wash and the animal's forlorn chorus, the savage savannah breathes. A territory where life is nourished by death, where every creature, from insect speck to apex carnivore, slots into a chain that tolerates no error. The fall of one antelope feeds lion cubs. The corpse of an old buffalo becomes banquet for vultures, jackals, and eventually fertilizer for grasses that, when rains return, will host new migrations. Nothing is squandered, everything is used, all is returned. The savannah is not paradise. It is an inexorable engine of survival. One creature's death guarantees another's life. Drought drags withered bodies. Rain summons fresh shoots to sustain future herds. Every birth carries a sentence. Each life is purchased at a cost. Even the air seems bartered in blood. The cycle is perpetual, brutal, unbreakable. Only the most ruthless, the most resilient, and the most cunning will witness another dawn.